next episode.
Yo, I'm Devin Reed, and I'm on a mission to build a bigger and more inspired career as a marketer, creator, and entrepreneur. I've spent 10 years in sales and marketing, become head of content for $2 billion tech companies, and scaled my side hustle, The Reader, to 6 figures. And now I'm ready to level up my creativity and earning power to hit the next level. Let's ride. But I need more than tips, tricks, and dopamine hits. I want inspiration and expertise that's gonna help me reach my potential. And damn it, I wanna have fun doing it. So I'm traveling America for candid, street-level conversations about creativity, marketing, and playing by your own rules. You'll hear the stories behind the success, unfiltered conversations, vulnerable moments, and practical advice to help you grow your career, confidence, and income. Are you ready? This is Read Between the Lines, the show for people who want to achieve phenomenal results. Today, I'm sitting down with one of my all-time favorite people, Nehal Tenany. One of my favorite things about her is the way that she's taken content creation and used it to make her B2B career and launch her side hustles, which includes 5-figure deals for influencer marketing. I'm gonna ask her exactly how she went from 0 to 50,000 TikTok followers in a year, how she's working with brands like Amazon and Spotify for brand deals, and how you can create hyper-relevant content that your audience loves. That's her marketing superpower, and soon it'll be yours. Are you ready? Let's ride. Before we get into it, I like the guests to be as comfortable as possible.
Okay.
So I have found what I believe to be is your favorite drink. I believe, according to someone close to you. Now, they didn't have the vanilla foam option, but this is a vanilla iced latte.
Wow, this is my favorite drink. Thank you.
You're very welcome. Shout out to Nav. He's who I texted, and he had like 4 options, and so I did my best. We spill?
Yep.
It's okay. You've got a B2B marketing job.
Yes.
You have a rather large TikTok following. You've got your own show coming up, which we're going to talk about in a little bit. And there's a lot of other things going on. But what I really want to know is, how has content creation changed your life in the last 3 to 4 years?
I feel like content creation is a creative outlet for me. So let me start with a little bit of backstory of how I even got into content.
Sure.
I was in high school, and my dad, he runs his own business company. He's CEO, and he always told me, I think you would really be good at marketing. And I was like, what's marketing? Why do you think that I would be good at marketing? He's like, you're always talking about this thing called Snapchat and Instagram. That's when it first came out. And I was always looking for ways to get people on social media before social media even started. As he started talking to me more, he said that you have a very creative mind. And I think that you can use that in a field that's up and coming. So you should try marketing. So I went to University of Arizona, and then I decided to enroll in marketing, and I just found a love for it. And as I dove deeper into the different versions of marketing and how many things there are, content was king.
Why content though?
The reason I decided to go into content marketing is I like evoking emotion. I realize I like getting a reaction out of people with the content that I create.
Yeah. I think you like getting a reaction out of people other than the actual reaction out of people, but I think that's a little, that might be something else. So is it safe to say that you got your start or like your big break while at Gong?
Oh, definitely, 100%. And honestly, I'm going to give you credit here. I got my big break from learning under you, and it taught me different ways to content market like I didn't know before. So if I didn't have you as a mentor, a teacher, I don't think I would have dived deeper into content.
We were at Gong for 2.5 years together, I think, about 2.5 years.
Yeah.
And it was during like the true hyper growth, which was like, people say hyper growth, and then there's real hyper growth, and then there's working for an Israeli B2B tech company, and then there's just kind of the Gong effect of like just the pace that we had.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people will look at that experience and it's like, what a great time, what a time to be alive, right? What a time to be at that marketing team. I want to know from you, what is like your, like, what was the unexpected things that you learned, or the experiences, you know what I mean? Like you look back at it and you're like, man, that was tough, but it was worth it.
Oh, wow. That's a really loaded question. I know like what the best moments were. Would that work as?
You should we're just hanging. You sling back any answer you like.
Yeah. I think that when you go to a tech company, you don't think that you're going to do these really big campaigns. And when we heard that we were going to do the Super Bowl campaign and have a commercial in the Super Bowl, my jaw dropped.
Yeah.
I was like, I can't believe I'm working on a campaign and working on a video, working on an activation that's going to be aired during the Super Bowl. I wish it was this year because the Niners, but
it would have been nice.
Yeah, but I'll take that as one of the coolest things I've ever done in my entire career.
What would tell me a little, like I was there, I remember it, but like for the people listening, what did you do? Like what was the campaign and maybe like your part of it?
Yeah, so we worked on a video that was supposed to be played as an ad during the Super Bowl, but my specific portion of it was trying to create an activation to get folks watching the ad to reach out to Gong or learn more about us and things. And so we did a whole social media campaign around it, around free t-shirts, giveaways, building the hype up. And I just remember feeling so cool during that moment and being like, wow, this actually worked. People are really into it. People know who Gong is, what Gong is.
I remember one of the smartest things, and you got to give Udi a shout, was like we bought a local ad.
Yeah.
People don't know that. People listening might be like, wait, hold on. So when it went live and then we were talking about it on social media, everyone thought it was a national ad, which is like $5-10 million.
Yeah.
And our job was, I remember he came to us and he was like, we need to make this investment look bigger than it is. And now he never said, it was never lie. It was never, we never said it was a national ad, but it was only placed, I think, in like San Francisco, like New York for a little bit, and these little pockets of like places. But what I remember from it was our ability to activate social media to make that ad that happened for 30 seconds in like 2 cities feel much bigger. Feel much bigger. So we had the t-shirt thing was trying to get as many people to basically post. Do you remember what it was? It was to post the video.
To post the video.
And we were lucky because we had a lot of fans at Gong. And so we had t-shirts made. They had I think it had a helmet on it, right?
Yeah, it was
the Gong logo.
Yeah, it was like a dog with a helmet.
Yeah. And we were like, if you post this, the first 100 people to post this video, we'll send a t-shirt.
Exactly. And we had so many people post that we actually increased the numbers of t-shirts and kept posting it after the fact.
I think we had like 200. Udi posted on his and it was like 100 out the gate. And I think he sold all the t-shirts before we launched the actual one. And so he was like, hey, good news. But bad news is we're out of t-shirts. Good news is here's more budget to go do more.
I also think it was really cool to see a tech company at the intersection of sports. And we did that a lot at Gong, which I thought was really fascinating. With even the logo on the Warriors basketball court and everything when Steph made his or broke his record. I was like, I'm such a huge Warriors fan. This is so cool to watch and be a part of.
Seeing Steph break the all-time 3-point record with Gong on the court, so the digital ads that they just placed on, he wasn't actually on the court. That was one of the coolest things. I felt very cool as a marketer. That was like, I work at that company. And then of course, same tactic, took a screenshot, posted it on LinkedIn and social media. And if you didn't know better, you would assume that was a national ad. I don't know if you, that was not a national.
No, it wasn't. It was only in this city. Yeah.
It was only Bay Area. So that was one of the things I learned, and was this concept of, you have to do it with integrity. You don't want to lie, obviously, but how do you make yourself and your company and your brand seem much bigger than it is as quickly as possible?
And I feel like that was the first time I experienced that firsthand.
Yeah.
And kind of taking the resources that we have and making it bigger than it is and getting our money's worth, et cetera.
I also know that, having been there, it was fun. And we did win a lot. Yeah. But it was hard as shit. It was one of the toughest jobs that I've had. I want to know, what were the challenging moments for you?
I think one of the biggest challenges with Gong was that everyone was just a phenomenal marketer there. And so it just seemed like it was one playing field. It was really hard to get ahead or notice or stand out because everyone was as equally as good as you were or you are. And so I think that has changed over time where sometimes I can be in a smaller, I don't know what I'm trying to say. Hold on. I know. What's that saying that's like big fish in a small pond? Like that's what I'm trying to get across.
You were a small fish in a big pond?
Yeah.
Is that what you're saying?
I think so.
That's it? I mean, it makes sense. You were, at the time, a junior marketer. You were, what, 2-3 years into your career? Yeah. At a fast-growing company, at a popular company, and the talent bar was high.
Yeah, it was like you were always expected to deliver more and more and more. It never stopped. Yeah. So it's like you achieve the Super Bowl, you achieve this, you do that, then it's like, what's next? How can I top myself? And sometimes it felt like time was running out, or I don't know if I can top myself. Maybe this is it at my time at Gong. And that's how I felt. And that anxiety of just like, I don't know if they're still going to accept me and love me was hard.
It was tough. I mean, so it was like the success beget more success, but then the pressure kept rising. And I think everyone had a bit of that. I had that feeling of like, I went from moments of great confidence to moments of like, damn, I'm barely holding on. And like, maybe the ride will be over for the whole company. Like, you might fizzle out a little bit, or maybe
Mm-hmm.
I'm hit my peak. I think that's what you're talking about. I was like, is this my peak?
Yeah,
and
exactly.
And the machine keeps going, and I'm not able to hang on still. You know what I mean?
Exactly what I'm trying to say.
You've used your content creation skills on TikTok as
Yeah.
well, and this is one of my favorite stories about you. You want me to tell a story? You want to tell a story?
You can go ahead.
Let me tell my version of
Okay.
this story, and we'll see. So I remember. So first, it does go back to Gong. I remember you pitched me TikTok. So I'm head of content, and you're like, Dev, we need to get on TikTok. This was early days, a couple years back. And I'm like, I don't know. I'm not really sure. It's still new.
Yeah.
And you did a great job pitching. I remember that pitch. It was very good. And you did convince me. It was more than like a resources like allocation thing. We didn't end up doing it. But I don't know, a few weeks later maybe, I can't remember the exact timeline. You came to me and you're like, I'm going to get on TikTok. And I was like, all right, that's cool. And you're like, nah, I'm going to post every day, 3 times a day until I pop off. That was the sentence you used. Every day, 3 times a day until I pop off. That was a year ago?
Yeah.
So it was much longer than that. But tell me about that. Like, what has that been like? Because you went from 0 to 50,000 TikTok followers in 365 days.
So first of all, your memory is amazing because that's exactly what happened. I was trying to convince you, but in the process, I convinced myself that So I was like, I'm doing this for Gong, and then I realized, okay, no, I'm doing this for me. Let's see if I can use this.
Saw the
presentation.
opportunity.
Exactly. So I found out that as much as I love doing tech and working in content marketing within the tech industry, there was a way that I love to decompress, and that's watching TV shows and watching movies and then talking to my friends about it. Like, oh, did you watch this? It's so cool. And I remember in our one-on-ones, one of the ways that we opened up was always around, hey, what are you watching right now? Oh, did you watch this? And we really like some interesting types of TV shows.
We bonded over the I'll say weird stuff and suspenseful stuff that me and you were into.
Exactly. So then I started posting that on TikTok and talking about all my recommendations. Everything from our one-on-ones went straight on TikTok.
Really?
Literally.
I didn't even know that.
Yeah. And then I started noticing that people cared about what I was saying or giving my recommendations. They actually believed that the shows that I'm recommending are good. And I built credibility on top of that.
Yeah.
And so after that, 3 posts a day in 1 year and 50K.
So I want to know why, because if you were doing it for a B2B company, it's to hit the marketing goals. It's another way to get a job done. But if you're doing it for yourself, like, what was the why? I mean, I'm just curious. Like, there had to have been more than just because you could.
Yeah, I think when people used to ask me back in college, what is your dream job? I always ask you what your dream job is. I'm like, if money and skill was not involved, I always said talk show host, entertainment host. And I have proof of this in my journal that I found from junior year of college. I wrote talk show host. I just never thought that I would get there or if that was sustainable. And so when I started my podcast, That They See Spark, that was kind of a shoe in there, but I didn't really love doing just South Asian focused content. And I felt like it was a lot of like social justice and a lot of different things, but I gravitated towards the movie interviews, the entertainment. So then I'm like, how do I take this a step further? There we go, TikTok. And so that way I didn't have to have a plan for it. I kind of just started posting freely what I wanted.
I didn't know this.
Yeah. I always wanted to be a talk show host. And I was like, how do I get there? Okay, podcast number 1.
Yeah.
South Asian. I have something like I love being like women of color, and I feel like the South Asian community is something I always value and cherish. But then I was like, okay, I've got one goal. What's next? Now I just want to go beyond South Asian. Let's do TV and movies as a whole. Now I'm doing that. And then who knows what the next step is going to be.
Well, we know a little bit. We've got some intel.
We got some intel.
That's fascinating because my big thing is like, look, if you're making content for fun, it's a hobby, which is fine. You can do that. I have no interest in for fun. I don't have enough time. But I had no idea you wanted to be a talk show host because to me it was like I saw the content. I was hitting like because I wasn't really. I was like I wasn't following a lot of people, so I got the Nehal content a lot. I'm hitting like. And I always remember being like, I wonder why she why this niche? Other than it's fun or, for it to decompress. So that's interesting.
I think like what makes me feel alive at the end of the day is going to those red carpet premieres and interviewing celebrities and asking them intuitive questions about why they made the movie or what that role felt like or what they want to do in life outside of this. And when I get that answer, that's so fulfilling to me.
Tell me about the first time you went viral. I remember it happening, but I want to know tell me about the post. Tell me how you felt.
So it was for a Netflix recommendation. So I was watching a bunch of TV shows and movies, and this was the first time I decided to do a compilation of things to watch or skip. Now, this is where it gets interesting. You can recommend people things to watch. They will agree with you. They will be like, best show ever. But once you tell somebody to skip a show that somebody loves, things get a little crazy.
What was the show? What was the show that people were like, I can't believe?
Oh, it was Manifest, and it is still the worst show ever.
Oh, I haven't even heard of it.
Yeah, you don't want to watch it.
I probably had heard of it, saw your TikTok, and was like, I don't need to watch it.
And so that went viral because everyone in the comments was like, don't trust her taste, or we love that, or she's honest. And I think because of, I mean, also, Devin, you know this, it's called a fire starter, or you coined that term, which means basically when you start kind of the comments going and it's polarizing. And so that was what that post was. It was polarizing to many.
I want to talk about that.
Fire starter?
Let's talk about the fire starter. So
how did you even come up with that name?
You grazed through it, but we need to pause on the fire starter. Okay. And I didn't know we would talk about this today.
Yeah.
So the idea was to stir up controversy for engagement. That was where it came from.
Yeah.
So what we were doing was, and I actually think Jonathan might have written the first one, Jonathan from Gong. I think I just was like, I see what's happening and we need to like continue to scale it. So basically what it was is like, I followed the kind of 90-10 rule. Mm-hmm. I'm saying stuff for 90% of people to like it or love it, and I need 10% of people to not like it. Because otherwise everyone's just agreeing with you. To your point, you will get good content and good engagement, but you'll get amazing engagement when you get that disagreement.
Yeah.
Now, of course, if you want to overstir the pot, you talk about politics and all that, but we're not trying to do that. We're not trying to do 50-50. We're trying to do 90, maybe 85. And so the point was like, and especially in the sales community who we were marketing to, you think they don't like a show, wait till you tell them how to do a cold call, an email, anything. And, even if it worked, we had data. We literally researched what worked, put it out there, and people grabbed their pitchforks and were like, you're a fraud. This would never work. And so I think what Jonathan wrote was like basically just the concept of like just following up. I think that was the phrase. And he was like, don't say it ever. Like that. It was a 6-word post or something super short, like just following up, never say it, never, something like that.
Yeah.
And it went crazy. Like it went super viral.
The comments were insane. People are like, Gong sucks. Gong's amazing. Agree, disagree.
Exactly. And so I saw that and was like, we believe what we said. We didn't say it just to get engagement. We didn't say it just to stir the pot, but it did stir the pot. And so then it was like, we're starting a fire in the comment section. Exactly. And so it was like, it's a fire starter. So then it was part of the strategy was, how do we selectively and intentionally stir the pot a little bit, get people talking, because what we wanted was the attention. We wanted to be the center of the conversation. Yeah,
and I think there was a few things that we learned along the way. One was gotta back it up with data, especially if you're like, it's a well-known company and you're putting stuff out. So we might know where it came from, but others might not. So I remember saying we have to cite everything moving forward of according to X number of calls or according to this person. And the second thing is you have to use those keywords like the biggest mistake you're making, the worst thing, or the best thing, because people love that kind of language, or people don't like that kind of language if they don't agree. And so I think with the Netflix situation, it was watch or skip, and people are like, okay, I can't believe you just told me my favorite show is a skip.
It's divisive on purpose, right? So you're drawing a line in the sand. That's what me and what we were talking about. It was like we're putting a line in the sand, or we're splitting the room. That was the phrase, splitting the room. And the goal was you don't want the side of the room against you to be larger than the side for you. Yeah. Because then you might be damaging your credibility, damaging your brand. But to your point, like what to skip, if someone's like, you got to watch this show, I think my interest level is medium. Yeah. Not you, but just in general. It's like everyone has a recommendation. If someone's like, yo, you have to skip these 3 shows, you're kind of like, oh, what's bad? Like you kind of get more intrigued. And then it's a show you like and you're like, wait a second, hold on, that's one of the best shows. And so then you're to your point, you're stirring up emotion, evoking emotion, and that led to engagement, and that led to a bigger brand and more notoriety.
Exactly. Somebody I remember reached out to me after that saying, wait, I actually really liked Manifest. Do I have bad taste in TV? And I was like, no, you're entitled to your own opinion. Yeah. I just didn't like it. And so I actually tested the theory out again a couple weeks ago. So the first video that I did last year that helped me get to the 25K mark, that hit 2 million. But I did it again this month, and I hit 4 million. So
you're talking about views, 4 million views.
4 million views.
25,000 reactions?
No, 25,000 followers.
25,000 followers, and that led you to
50,000 this time with that 4 million view boost. Yeah.
Do you see Okay, so you're doing it intentionally, which I love. You
Yeah.
know me. I'm
Now,
like,
well, you know, even you said always, if something works, why break it? Like, why not do it again?
there's gold in those hills.
Exactly.
Get the dynamite.
Yeah.
Scale that. So how often do you do a fire starter on TikTok?
I would say once a month.
And do you still do 3 times a day?
No, now I do once a day.
Once a day.
Yeah. My main goal was hitting 50,000. So first I hit 25,000 and then I reduced to 2 posts a day.
Oh,
and
okay.
then 50,000, I did 1 post a day only because now I feel like I don't have as much time on my hands where I can do 3 posts. And I know what the people like. And those posts now pop off.
I want to talk about what the people like in a second.
Got to give them what they want.
I'm more controversial than I thought. But like, I'm like, once a month, I feel like I would do, once a week's probably too much.
Yeah.
Once a week is like, you know, then your brand becomes the like kind of shit talker almost a little bit. Every 2 weeks would probably be where I'd be at, but I'm not, you know, who am I to critique? I've not followers on TikTok. What does it do for your follower count? Like, is there a clear correlation of like hyper engagement or like fire starters and like, are you seeing followers jump up?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, so I think I was at 40,000 followers before this new watch or skip post I did, and it got me 10,000 followers. Yeah. So that's what to do. Be controversial.
Just looking right into the camera for a second, just kind of like, okay.
Yeah.
Damn.
I think you just need maybe like 4 to 5 viral posts. If you know, based on my history on TikTok
tell me.
the last
I'm
year.
not on it. You know, I'm trying to get on. By the time this airs, hopefully I'll be on it and start by then.
I think based on my history, I've hit maybe 12 to 14 posts that have gone above 1 million. And I think those are the ones that have gotten me the most followers and have helped me to get that 50,000.
And it's an interesting balance, right? Because, you know, like people say like going viral is not the goal.
Yeah.
And it's not. It's a mechanism for growing followers or a mechanism to getting some sort of end goal, which we'll talk about in a sec. But at the same time, it's just like absolute gasoline on the fire. Like it's no pun intended on the fire starter. So no, it makes a lot of sense. So I don't know. Now I know my thing is we were talking about my channel. I want to do like sneaker marketing.
Yeah, but remember I was telling you like you don't want to pigeonhole yourself into one bucket. And so I think with the music video TV show thing, after I saw that first 2 million views on that, I had to start branching out. I started posting other content of lifestyle, travel, and wedding things that I'm working on right now. And I think those stuff also started popping off, some of them. So I was able to build a more holistic brand with 3 different things that I'm an expert, quote unquote, at. And that's helped me be Nehal Tenany. I'm
laughing because one of them's getting married. And so I'm just laughing like I'm an expert at getting married. Like I've done it a few times. It's like,
sorry now.
So, okay, hold on. So, but it makes sense now because I'm decent at, well, I'm going to go ahead and say reading between the lines. And so it's the name of the show.
Yeah.
Dad joke. I feel like I'm pretty good at reading between the lines and I didn't pick up on this stuff because I think, and not that I thought you didn't do it intentionally, but you don't always know why someone does something. And so now that I know you want to be like a personality TV host, it's like, hey, let me show that I'm an expert in TV and I have opinions. And then it makes a lot of sense to broaden and niche out a little bit and go, but let me tell you a little bit more about who I am and build the like Nehal affinity, which you did through like kind of family stuff. But I think my favorite is the you and Nav, because Nav, the fiance, so doesn't want to be on camera and so reluctant. So I think that dichotomy of you like super bubbly, personable, fast paced, and then Nav's reluctancy is good. And then the getting married thing, it's like, it's about being relatable. Right? And like people, feeling your experiences. Yeah,
I think the thing that I've noticed from all of that stuff is I love going on rants on TikTok. And that's how I release my frustration on certain things like wedding planning, or, if I'm having issues with family or my parents said something to me, I just go straight to TikTok. It's like therapy to me. And I feel like people seeing me speak freely and about a situation, it's very relatable. Like so many people have come to me and be like, I was feeling this exact way. And I was like, I just had to get it out there. I couldn't book a therapy session on time, so here it is.
Okay, so this is an interesting thing because I think the balance, and at least for me sometimes, is like, I should be teaching something. Yeah. Which is like knowledge share, which is how to do a thing. Nothing you've talked about is how to. Yeah. And I think that's a good thing. So it's like focusing on being relatable instead. Is that something in your head of like needing to teach, or are you just like, no, I'm like misrelatable?
I think I miss Relatable because all of the experiences or most of the experiences that I have, I see it play across my friend groups. We'll be at a dinner table conversation. Actually, this is the best thing to talk about. We had a conversation in our one-on-one and you told me that I was bad at accepting compliments.
I said that you had some room to improve.
Yeah. And because I've just always been someone who's not a fan of compliments because I don't know how to accept them because it goes back to South Asian culture, growing up, not being giving a lot of compliments and stuff. And now my family's really good at it, but it's just not how I grew up. I took that straight to TikTok. You saw it. And the comments were crazy. It was like 30, 40 people being like, I feel the same way. I think it's because of my parents. I think it's because now it's hard in the workplace. And I was like, see, I just took a conversation that I would have with you and felt like it was relatable.
I remember opening TikTok and seeing like, so I had it was something to the effect of like, so I had a conversation with my manager and I was like, oh, that's me. Like, oh, wait. And I was like, I trust you not to like blast me. But I was like, she didn't say my name. She has kind of free range here. Yeah. But I remember you shared that and it was, I think, the same day or maybe you posted it the next day. And I remember respecting that speed from like experience to content.
Yeah.
And I think that I want to get better at that because as I have gotten, I don't know if it's like older or maybe as my career has grown, I feel almost like a little, I don't know if it's less confident, maybe like I need to be more refined.
Yeah.
So I'm curious, like, what advice do you have for people who are like, I want to be Miss Relatable. I want to share my experiences, but I'm nervous. Like, you know, there's that like, you know, you drink a whole cold brew.
Yeah.
You got that fire going, you have the experience. And then there's that pause, that reluctancy before actually like hitting record and publishing it. It's like, what advice would you have?
I think that you have to set boundaries with yourself and the people around you. I've talked to my family about it as well of like, hey, I'm going to be sharing this on social media or I'm going to be talking about this situation. My mom actually follows me on TikTok and she comments on all my videos. And one time she was like, I know this is about me, but maybe we could talk about it later. And it was a great conversation.
Oh, interesting.
And so Nav and I have our own personal boundaries of what we want to share. I'm sure you do with Rumi, Razi, the kids, everything. Yeah. And so it's kind of making sure that you have boundaries of what you're okay with sharing without being too protected because that's how you're relatable if you're more vulnerable.
I feel like that's just like at least in my, and I'm, you know, me, I'm mostly on LinkedIn in the B2B space. I'm trying to get into the TikTok realm a little bit, which is literally me saying I'm trying, this whole like trying, that's me being like, I need to do what I'm asking you about right now because I've had the feedback of like, what do you like about me, so to speak, and not in the insecure way, but like, why do you engage with my content? And people do say the relatability factor. Yeah. And I feel like I'm still, I would say hiding a lot more than I'm sharing, but I feel like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm like, I've only shown a little bit.
Yeah.
And so I'm kind of balancing that with myself of like, kind of putting myself out there. How much about my kids do I talk about? Being a dad? Is that lame? Is it cool? And what I've found, and it's so annoying to me, and I think your superpower, which is the LinkedIn post that I write that I think about, draft it, revise it, look at it one more time before I post. It does good.
Yeah.
The one where it's an idea, you know where I'm going. The idea after a gym or a run, and I'm like, how can people think this? And I just like bang it out on the keyboard. And if I post it like right then or the next day, that post always does better.
Same with me.
Like 3 times better.
Same with me. And that's why I think with TikTok, the ability to just post real time or as they come to you, you can't have like, that's why I'm posting maybe 3-4 times a day randomly. And maybe I don't post tomorrow. It's whenever the ideas come to me, I never keep it in my drafts. I just let it go.
Really?
Yeah. I have some from my wedding, obviously, which I'm not ready to post yet because the event hasn't happened. But if there are like ideas in my draft, I don't keep a single idea. I just post it and then I just see what happens.
I'm getting nervous thinking about that. I think that's my like, I need to push myself to do it. Yeah. Cause then, I mean, the lighting in my office is terrible and I'm fixing that, but I feel like I'll find a reason to not do it. Like, the lighting's not good, or like, my energy's a little low right now. And I do think back to your like 3 times a day until I pop off. I feel like that's a, like damn near a t-shirt or a slogan, like, seriously. Which is like, just do it. It's like, just get after it. And I think my unsolicited, speculation would be that 3 times a day, I bet you gave you a lot of confidence. Yeah, for sure. You got real comfortable with hitting record, talking at the black circle, which is my least favorite thing to look at. It's so just like dead, you know, and hitting publish. I think when I met you 4 years ago, I would say now, I couldn't even talk
in front of a camera. I didn't know how to do that. It wasn't something I was comfortable with. I didn't even think my life was going there. I had the podcast during the time, but it was all audio. So I got comfortable slowly with my voice, but I couldn't put my voice and my face together. It just wasn't for me. And then TikTok made me confident of being like, hey, I'm going to be up here. I'm going to get close and up personal. And then now I feel like I'm in a place where I can just record on the fly anywhere.
You seem wildly confident in the best way.
And it's happened over time in the last 4 years. You've seen my most growth, I think. These last 4 years have been the most substantial years of my life in all kinds of ways, like family growth, relationship growth, but confidence growth has been a huge part of it.
So let's talk about that for a second. When I was prepping for this, I try to think of like, what's the theme of this conversation with this person? What's the big question? And when I think of you, I think of like, Nehal made content that changed her life.
Yeah.
And it's not just like you did one thing and that opened up doors, but like you've, gotten a couple great marketing jobs and done some fantastic work. You grew your TikTok following, you're getting married, and then you do content about the getting married thing. And so it's like, and I know there's some other stuff that's come from it too. I want to know like, what are some of those other things, maybe expected or not expected, that you've experienced? Like doors that have been opened, maybe financially, opportunities, like what has come from you creating content other than the stuff we've talked about so far?
Yeah, so I think financially, it opened a door of brand deals, collaborations, and things like that. What I struggle with sometimes is because I'm in the movie, TV show niche, a lot of big brands, Netflix, Peacock, Amazon Prime, come to me and they want me to talk about their movie and they're going to pay me a lump sum of money. But sometimes the challenge, like I was saying, is that the movie isn't that good or the TV show isn't that good. So I struggle here a little bit with my integrity and I struggle here with my credibility to what I'm going to put out there. Then I realize, okay, this is not my full-time job. This is not something that I have to do to get a paycheck. So I say no to the brand deals that I don't like the movie for.
Okay, hold on. So have you ever, well, first of all, you just rattled off the 4 streaming platforms that like everyone has or have heard of. And when I go to them, it's to watch something. And when they come to me, it's because I owe them a bill. Yeah. You're like, they hit me up and want me to make content for them. Like it's no big deal, which is awesome. The reason I sat up in my chair is, have they ever done a deal? Like, do you watch the thing and then make a decision, or do you have to sign like, I'm going to do it?
No, I watch it. They give me a screener and I watch it and I go, okay, I cannot recommend this to my audience.
Wow. How often does that happen?
That's happened, I would say, like 3-4 times.
Out of?
10.
So a decent amount, 30 to 40% of the time, you're like, can't do it.
And these paychecks are fat.
Give me
like 8 to 10,000.
Wow. I know I'm getting excited.
I know you got up off your seat.
I get excited because I like making money.
Yeah.
I get extra excited because I know you and I care about you. And so to hear you doing it is like the homie is like making it happen. So, and it's cool and new.
Yeah.
Like, I won't say age, but we're millennials. And to see like Amazon coming to you and going, here's 4 figures, 5 figures is so cool to me.
Yeah.
So I'm curious, like, they're making 8 to 10 grand offers. Mm-hmm. You said yes to most of them. I'm curious, like, how is that, like, how do you feel about that? How is that resonating with you?
I mean, I started off charging $500 for maybe a TikTok video when I was starting off, and brands would come to me, and then it's grown now. And so sometimes they come back to me, and that wasn't even on my mood board of this year. And I'm like, okay, I guess I know somewhat of my worth. And then after that, I started building it up and realizing like, this is what the market is charging for this kind of content. And now I'm able to give recommendations and different packages. So if I do a one-off review of a movie or TV show, that's more expensive versus putting it in a compilation of like 5 other ones from different streaming services. I'll give you a shout out. Because if I add you in a watch or skip and it's a watch, you're going viral, baby.
I love that. Do you tell them this? Do they tell you? Like, I'm curious how much of it is like, I mean, you can tell me as specific as you feel comfortable. I'm curious if it's like, hey, Nehal, we saw your, watch or skip videos and we want to be on the watch. Or is it like, hey, we have, I don't know, some movie, John Wick 5. I would love for that to be my option. Yeah. John Wick 5. And then it's just like up to you.
So it's the second one. So they tell me a movie or a TV show that's coming out. Then after that, I watch the screener. I decide whether I love it or if I don't. Negotiations begin, go back and forth of like how much that's going to cost. And then different packages are introduced and they also have a budget. After that, it's actually kind of a long process because you have to write a script and include photos and stills of like what you're going to be posting.
Wow.
Then they approve that. Then you do your first shot, and then if they have edits, you have to record. I usually do up to maybe 2 rounds of edits max because I feel like that's the most organic.
Are you talking script edits or like video edits?
Video edits. Yeah, and then the final one is approved, the final video, and that's what gets posted on social.
So I'm thankful you're sharing all of this, not just for myself, but I think it's so easy for people to see that post of Nehal. No, you are not. Maybe you see, I don't know, do you put ad or sponsored? You'd have to. Okay, I think you have to. And so, but you could see that post, and if you don't know how the machine works, you'd be like, wow, that's so crazy. She got paid thousands of dollars for 2 minutes of work. But it's not 2 minutes of work. It's hours of work. That's what I always tell
people. It's hours. Even watching something on a time limit that you have. Like suppose I don't have free time between doing this podcast, going home to my family. I have to find an hour and a half to watch that TV show perfectly clear-minded. I know I'm complaining about watching TV, but I don't have time.
It's work. It's a job.
It is. Yeah. And so I watch it and then I'm like, okay, I have to get them on a deadline. But which is why I don't think I can ever do content creation full time.
Go on.
Okay.
Is that just like too much? You're not interested in like just the constant like watching? Because what you're basically saying is like watching, thinking, how do I feel about this? How would I take those ideas and make them relatable? Then you're storyboarding, and then you're doing revision. So that's a full cycle of content creation. Are you saying like, yo, that's fun, but not all day, every day?
Yes, exactly what I'm saying. I don't think I can make a career out of it because then it doesn't get fun anymore. It's not on my own time. And I think I've built credibility by watching what I want and posting what I want so that when these brands do come, it's like a sweet extra cash in my pocket.
Yeah.
But once it starts to become, I have to wake up every day and I have to watch this TV show and I have to make a video about it, I don't think I'm going to love it anymore.
Yeah, and then when the passion's not there, it comes through.
Yeah.
And it's tough.
That's why I feel like this tech job and working in tech marketing keeps me so grounded. It makes me it challenges me critically sometimes. And I have new projects that I work on that excite me. And I'm not saying it's easy all the time, but it's definitely work is work. But it keeps me grounded so that when I do this stuff, it's more fun. And the payoffs are I get to go to premieres or I get a sweet check for watching a TV show or a movie.
So when you're doing show reviews, how do you decide if it's a skip or watch?
The storyline. So it has to get me from the beginning till the end with as little plot holes as possible because they drive me insane.
I cannot stand a giant plot hole in the middle, which I'm like, I could have written better than this. Yeah. You know what show has no plot holes?
Which one?
John Wick.
Oh my God. Wait, did you watch the movie that I told you to?
Not yet. But dude, I started Saltburn.
Oh, I just started that yesterday at night with Nav.
Dude, me too.
What?
Have you gotten to the tub scene?
No, I haven't gotten there. I just got to the scene where they do where that guy gets angry in the college dorm area.
You know what's wild?
What?
I got to that scene when I first started it, and then I had to go do something.
Same.
And then I come back to it. Now I want you to watch it. All I'm gonna say is the bathtub scene. I don't even know if we're gonna keep this in the show. Text me.
Yeah.
That's all I'll say. I turned it off last night because I'm like, I gotta sleep for the show today. I woke up thinking about it, and it's all I can think about. And it's So anyway, I want you to watch it, and you holler at me.
I'm gonna watch it right after this. So
watch it on the plane. Download it on your phone. So we've talked about brand deals in like the media industry. Curious if there's any Gucci deals.
I wish.
Any Prada deals? Not, I'm kind of teasing you halfway, but you're already at the big dogs with the streaming. So like, are there any other brand deals that you either have, or maybe that you're like, not yet, but I'm working towards?
I wouldn't say brand deals. However, I've gotten a lot of collaborations with brands for my bachelorette gift bags, my wedding vendors, and things like that.
Yeah.
So for tagging them on social media, for talking about them, they've given pretty good discounts. And so I think I'll take that while wedding planning.
If you had to put a dollar amount on the discounts or freebies just on your wedding, what would you say it would be?
Oh, I actually don't know.
More than 10,000?
I think around there.
And geez, that's nice. That's nice.
Yeah.
I get excited about the money, but I know it's not just about cash, because that's a part of it. And like as you have, there's like a certain point where once you've made a certain amount of money, the gratification of another $20,000 isn't the same as what it used to be.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So what are some of the other opportunities that you've had that aren't financial, that like from you creating content?
Yeah, and I think I keep going back to this, but it's the premieres and the interviewing. I just can't get over how I feel when I'm on that red carpet and I get to talk to some of the favorite people, my favorite people that I watch on screens and stuff. And so being invited to those events, I feel like is such a win because I'm not getting paid to go there. I'm going there as an honorary guest. And nowadays, I even see myself not on the interview side. I got invited as a creator recently to walk the red carpet at a premiere. And I was like, what? And somebody interviewed me. And I was like, okay, maybe this is making it. So
wow, that's dope. Yeah. So it sounds like access.
Yeah, access.
Access to places you wouldn't have gone prior. What are some of who are some of the people you've met? What are some of the premieres? At least the best ones. I know you've done a few because I'll be on TikTok. I'm like, hold on. She's at the premiere like of this thing I've heard of.
I'm trying to think off the top of my head. There's a TV show that I watched called Outer Banks, which I really liked on Netflix. Going there as a creator was super fun. I got to hang out with the cast after at an after party and reception too. Nice. So I was like, okay, I'm really in it right now. Yeah. We've done a lot of things with, again, Netflix, Bridgerton, and yeah, that's pretty much it.
How does it feel when you're in those rooms for the first time? Because like, look, right now, you know, it's like, wow, how dope, right? Yeah. Outside looking in, it's like, damn. But I know when you're in that room for the first time, when something pops off, the way it feels in that moment is different than the like on my mood board. Yeah. You know, on the mood board, it's like, oh, I really hope I can get there. That'd be dope. And then you're in that room doing it. How does that feel?
I think when it started feeling, like when I started feeling more confident was when I could go into those rooms and introduce myself to these A-list, B-list, C-list celebrities and say, hi, I'm Nehal and I'm an entertainment content creator. I loved your TV show and movie. And then they would want to engage with me more and talk about their movie or TV show so that I would talk positively or however I want on my accounts and stuff. And so it felt like I was finally getting well known in the industry and people are slowly starting to see my stuff and resonate me with movies and TV shows.
That's rad. You've got a lot of followers on TikTok. You're quite successful on the influencer tip, right? Like business is booming. You've got a lot of deals coming your way, bigger checks. What advice do you have for people who are trying to get into it for the first time? Like they're not an influencer. They haven't started to monetize their content yet. What advice do you have for them to just get that first check?
I think when you're starting off being an influencer or a creator, you have to think of your why. You said that earlier and stuff. So is it to monetize or is it to get famous or is it to start a brand or is it to get recognition? Like what is your why? Yeah. And so for me, it was, I still don't know if it's going to be the talk show hosting, but I think that's always at the back of my mind is to get and be a talk show at the end of the day, to be relatable to people and to have people come to me for daily advice, what to watch, and see me as like a holistic brand. Okay. And so to start off in doing that, it's writing down and figuring out what you're an expert at or what you're good at or what you can offer to the world. And so I always sit down and I write. I'm like, okay, wedding planning, I've learned a lot. Let's talk about wedding planning. I watched a movie this weekend, watched a few TV shows, write it down. What did I watch? What are some other pockets of things that I can share about my life? And that's how I build my strategy for a creator.
Yeah, I mean, that makes more sense because I feel like most people get caught up in the famous part, the following part, which, you know, in my perspective, like, why be famous if not to make money? Personally, like, I don't know, like, I know there's like the you know, insecurity of like wanting to be popular, wanting to be accepted. I can promise you, you're not going to find that via a following online. At least I have not experienced that. If anything, it kind of sometimes does the opposite. So I mean, so it starts with your why. What are you good at? I like that you said, what do you have to offer the world? That's the value. Yeah. And that can be the teaching of how to do wedding planning. But I think what you're doing is like, the value is like saving time and watching the right things.
Exactly. It's basically helping people. Yeah. I help people. I'm making your wedding planning easier by telling you all my mistakes. I'm telling you what to watch so you don't have to spend time scrolling. Yeah. I'm telling you what activities you should be doing in these travel destinations so you don't have to go on TripAdvisor. Shout out TripAdvisor. Sponsor us. Just kidding.
I was like, damn, is this one of the deals? Is it happening right now?
No, but yeah. So I just want to help people with these certain topics that I've already done a lot of research on.
Yeah. But the point too is though, is there's the value you can offer now and the value you want to be known for later. Yeah. So that's the important part, which is like, you can say, kind of going back to like fire starters, you can say a lot of stuff, get attention, convert it into a following. But if you don't really have whether it's called a monetization plan or a so what plan, like a so what you have a following, then that is the like game of popularity contest. And I think that's the thing where like influencers can be kind of icky. It's like you're doing it for likes, which is really like you're doing this for approval. I love a well thought out plan that's executed. And I think that's one of the things I respect about you so much, and why I wanted to talk to you was like, I saw the how, I'm looking for the why. And I think a lot of people see the engagement. People call them vanity metrics. They are in a way.
Yeah.
But to me, they're just the visible metrics. So it's like all we have to look at, right? It's not like I can see how close is Nehal getting to her dream of being a host. You can't see that on TikTok, right? Unless you share about it, which you should.
No, not yet.
No, not yet.
There yet.
Okay, I think that would be cool. I would be interested if you're like, hey, by the way, I share all this stuff because my dream job is to get a host on like, I don't know, some entertainment show. I would be interested, not even just because I know you, but to follow along in that journey.
Yeah.
I think that would be interesting. You're looking at me like, I'm never going to do that. Why not? Why wouldn't you share that out of curiosity?
I don't know. I think it's like the slow things that I'm doing to get there. And once I get there, then I would share it. But I don't think I want to share my journey with people on that, because that's something that was always sacred to me. And
okay. Well, it's not,
it's
out
I know.
now.
Not like that. You know what I mean? It's always something that's like, okay, when we talk about your dream job, you said basketball player?
Well, I mean, if we're saying skill is also not part of it, I would love to be on the worst. But if it was like, what could you actually do?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm with you. Talking for a living is a great thing.
It's
I'm like,
amazing.
can I be an NBA like announcer, like the play-by-play?
Yeah.
You get to hang out in the NBA, hang out with hopefully your local team, but whatever team, and you just get to talk basketball all day. Like, I would love to get paid. I was talking to my barber about this yesterday. Imagine the job is to watch basketball. Oh my God, it's your job. It's to watch basketball and then tell you what I think about basketball. It's the same thing. I just like realized it's the exact.
You want my job?
I want your job, but for the Warriors, but seriously, that's it.
Yeah.
Like I look at Stephen A. Smith. I don't know if you're familiar. He's like one of the big names in ESPN. It's like he gets paid millions of dollars. I wouldn't shout, but he shouts at cameras of like, what's wrong and what's right. And I'm like, man, I would do it my way and have so much fun with that.
But see, that's the thing though. I feel like you don't share that often. You don't talk about that often. But slowly the things that you're doing in your day to day is maybe one day could get there. There could be a path to get there. Doing a podcast, getting recognition for who you are, what you like, sneakers. You talk about the Warriors. Like people are starting to put you with that brand or those certain words. Like it's not that far away.
The sneaker deal is the one I need to work towards, because that's the one I really want. I put it out in the universe. I want to be the first B2B marketer to have a sneaker deal.
Yeah. Okay. See, and those are things, but I don't want to talk about it because I just want people to follow the journey. And then once I get there, be like, it makes sense now.
That's fair. That's fair. It's each their own how to get there. I remember when I posted that, people were like, sorry, Gary Vee already beat you to it 2 years ago. And I was like, one, I don't think he's B2B.
Yeah.
And two, I did Google it real quick. I'm like, and I was like, those are some ugly K-Swiss. I'm going to have a dope shoe. Mine's going to be tight. But that is one thing, if I was like, where's the like gap between where I want to get to and what I'm doing to get there? It is the sneaker stuff, because people know me, I like it, but I'm not talking about it as much as I could and should. And that's why when we were talking about my TikTok strategy, I was like, I feel like that's the spot. Like that's where it's video, and that's what I got to work on.
Because you could even talk about all this stuff and just be in your closet with the most sneakers ever and have them in the background. People are like looking in the background being like, oh my God, what's that? And then maybe you're holding one next time. Then slowly you're talking about it. It's like, at the end of the day, content strategy, we both know, is a build-up. And it's adding those layers over and over again until you get to that spot. Maybe
I think the his and hers, but not the wifey shoes, because candidly we don't have a lot of matching ones. But the Devin and the kids, those matching sneakers, that might be a good start. Yeah,
but to me, at the end of the day, it's not about the brand deals. It's not about that stuff. I think a great example is you were at my engagement party, and at my engagement party, I thought the decor was amazing, and I worked with a local decor and florist lady, and she was so sweet. Her name was Anne. And I just went on TikTok and did a whole review on her not asking for it or anything, and talked about how she was amazing to work with. She got 10 clients after that TikTok blew up. And it's me just saying good things about her brand and what it was like working with her. Yeah. She posted it on her Instagram story and then said, I never saw this TikTok. This was one of my favorite clients, and I can't believe she said these sweet words about me. It's helped me so much in my business. That goes to show that influencers do have a lot of power when it comes to moving business, moving deals and stuff. And it's not in a transactional sort of way. It can just be just doing good business and providing good value to the clients you work with. And I don't know, it could have a huge return.
I like that. I think it's both. I like both. I think it's like helping others is the best business model.
Yeah.
That's straight up true. I also just believe in like getting paid to do something. Like if you're doing the work, getting paid for it. So that's maybe the transactional part. Okay, so I like that you said, hold on, what's your why? Why are you doing this? You're trying to get a certain career. Maybe you're trying to make more money. I'm both. What is the guidance you would give someone for like, okay, you have your why.
Yeah.
And you're posting some content. People like ask me too, like, how do I get that dollar though? Like, how do I get the sponsorship? I think it's like, how do I monetize? Like, what's your advice for like, and maybe you could share how you got your first one, but like, I'm curious, how would you guide people of like getting that first monetization?
Yeah. So there's a few different things. The first one is joining a third-party platform. So there's a lot of good third-party platforms out there looking for small creators under 10K, under 5K followers to give their product for free. I know you have to do the free thing at the beginning. That's what I did. Get product for free, put some content out to get some credibility. Yep. And so once you start putting that content out, brands start to see, okay, this person makes good content for some brands. Maybe we're going to start paying her. And then after that, you start pricing yourself according to the amount of engagement you get, the amount of followers you get. So that's one way.
You said, hold on, I want to go. I think you looked at me in a way because you know I hate free.
Yeah.
And not just because I'm talking about monetization, but I do understand the giving something up front for social proof. Like like I have no experience, and I've done not free but cheap work in marketing to get started.
Yeah.
Are you saying like, look, I'll use Nike because I'm wearing them.
Nike.
But like, are you saying, hey, you can hit this platform, Nike's gonna holler at you, and you'll just do a free post for Nike just to show that you've done a post, or like that you have some proof in the pudding, like engagement? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. So there's two versions. So I'll use the brand Cyle because that's one of the brands that I've worked with. Love their skincare.
I was wondering, I should have done an over under of how many brand shout outs I would give with you. I love it. Keep going.
Yeah. So Cyle has a platform or third-party platform. They're on a third-party platform, and they give you free Cyle products, which I'm never going to say no to see one tester video. Then after that, they pay you.
Interesting.
And so it's your proof of concept before getting paid. Now, this third-party platform has other brands or smaller brands and not well-known brands that will pay you right off the bat. Sure. But if you want that bigger name to get started, to get more bigger name, I always start with, I'm okay with free.
That's interesting because do you do it to protect yourself as well now that you have some, like a following? Like do you, let's say, I don't know, not Cyle's, but some brand like it, I don't know. They come to you and they're like, Nehal, we want to do, I don't know, $50,000 deal, and it's 6 months long, and it's all these deliverables. Yeah. But you've never used the product, maybe, or you know what I mean? Like it's a test for you as well. Would you take that deal, or would you say, hey, hold on, let's do a smaller test first to make sure it's a mutual fit?
So with most brand deals, especially skincare, they actually give you the product a month before to test out before you sign something. And so I just am someone who has a lot of integrity when it comes to this. I keep using that word because I can't give something to my followers if it doesn't work well on me or if I don't like it. I really think it just kills my credibility, and I have nothing to lose right now because it's not my main paycheck. I don't know for people who it might be, but for me, it's just not worth it. Yeah. And so I always ask for the product, try it out for 3 weeks, and then I'm like, these are my results. And then I'll send it to them. They've come back to me if I'm a little sarcastic, you know me. I'll add a little bit of shade to everything.
You'll be honest, like it's good, it's not the best.
It's good,
like,
but it's not the best. Yeah. And then brands have come in the storyboarding and scripting process saying you need to delete that part, which I'm like, okay, fine. I can delete that part. But you can't ask me to completely love a product if I don't love it. And I'm honest up front.
I personally believe being sold to, if someone says it's good, not great, you might not buy it because that's not a bad review, but it's not a great review. But a review that is like, it's great, but keep in mind this, like, maybe it's not great if you, like, imagine like running shoes, for example, like great running shoe if you're a long distance runner stuff, but if you have a wide foot, it might not be a fit. Yeah. No pun intended. Or pun intended, I guess. That to me would sell me more than someone telling me the shoe is perfect.
I agree with that.
Because that's unrealistic, but I feel like brands don't want that.
And that's where I'm like, you guys have to think smarter and bigger. Sometimes I'm like, brands, who is running your marketing team? Let me just be you hired me to be your creator. Yeah. So let me sell it the best way, which I think is possible. So I give lots of recommendations back to brands, and sometimes they go for it. Sometimes they want it their way. And then the proof is in the pudding.
So I don't know. It's probably like gut feel, huh? Of like how much you're willing to give and get. And you probably just have that feeling of like, I've probably lost, call it enough creative control where you're like, I'm interested, but I'm not that interested. Or like, I think the thing you're saying too is like protecting your brand.
Exactly.
Because if you start dishing out bad products 2-3 times, people aren't going to follow you. They're not going to trust you. And then the brand deals aren't going to be coming anyway.
Exactly. And I think the other problem that some people on TikTok have is it's so hard sell all the time that, And so when you're scrolling, if I have like 4 or 5 brand partnerships in a row, you're going to see that paid partnership. You're like, this girl is just doing paid partnerships. So I try to do maybe once a month, twice a month right now, because I don't want to do any more than that. And if I'm not producing more content outside of that.
I think the same thing. I mean, well, I'm going to get over to some LinkedIn content of yours because I know we're on TikTok, but I do the same thing where I post, I mean, it depends, but I try to do about 8 times a week on LinkedIn, but I've got this morning night shift routine I'm on trying to get some international followers. So I'd post at night too. But I view it as like, look, if I post 5 times a week, Monday through Friday, that's about 20 posts a month. Yeah. I only want 2 of them, 3 max, to be a sponsored post because I don't want you to get conditioned that every week, or because not everyone sees every post. So I don't want them to see call it a good post or normal post and then a sponsored post because it loses my credibility, but it's almost like they're not going to listen. You know what I mean? They see Devin's name and they're like, probably an ad. Yeah. And there's a couple people, and we don't throw shade, but that have done that. And I feel like they took the short-term cash for the long-term loss. Exactly. Yeah. And I completely agree with that. That's why also I'm spread my brand deals out and I don't try to do it often. And I also try to have a buffer between when I'm doing the brand deal content with my own content. Do you have a framework? Framework. I said that on not on purpose, but as soon as it was leaving my mouth, I was like, that's like the thing me and you've been talking about. Do you have a decision-making process for what brands you will say yes or no to? And I can give an example. So like mine for LinkedIn is like, I'm like, do I use this product or not? Do I like the brand or not? Do I know the people and do I like the people? And it's kind of like this like checklist almost in a way. And you have to have enough green check marks for me to entertain. So if I haven't used the product, maybe the brand's small, I don't really know anyone there, then my brain goes, you'd have to give me a lot of money. And then I go, but that's not really the trade-off I want. You know what I mean? Yeah. I'm not trying to just make a lot of money on small brands, which is realistically what could happen. So I'm curious, like, do you have a way that you're kind of like evaluating deals? I actually don't have a way that I'm evaluating deals. So first of all, I'm not reaching out. I was talking about third-party platforms. That was when I started off. Now it's all inbound. I'm getting emails every day. Really? Yeah, from brands. Right on. And they're pitching to me. And then I look through them, deciding on what they're offering, whether it's a free product, compensation, then build out these packages if I'm very much interested. So if it's a TV show or movie with somebody that I love or a big company that's putting it out and I know this is going to go or be big, then I'm like, I'm just going to do it. It's going to be awesome. It'll be good for my brand too. Like sometimes Amazon Prime, for example, they give me screeners of shows early just so I can watch it. They don't ask to post anything or pay me to post. But once in a while, when I get those, I really like the show and those videos pop off. And people are like, wow, she got a screener. She must be somebody in the industry. And so that builds my credibility. And then sometimes when they have a show that doesn't perform as well and they need more eyes on it, that's when the money comes in. That's pretty interesting. Are those like bigger? Can you tell if like, how do you know if a show is like new versus like, the show's not doing good, we need to put some money behind it? Because there's like a level of desperation in a way, and that's leverage for you to charge more potentially. Oh yeah, definitely. It's all timing. If the show hasn't been released yet and it's coming out, I know it's a new show and they're really excited about it and want somebody to talk about it for free. Yeah. But if it's been there on the market for a little bit and they're reaching out again, from our content marketing brains, we know that they're doing like a second campaign with this because it's been out for a while. Some executives, some leaders are looking at a dashboard. Yeah. It's not looking good. And they're like, before we shelf it, we got to do a push behind it. Like, how can we get some more juice out of this before people are done? That's interesting. But that's how it works in the tech industry too. We have these assets that we have. Yeah. And then we pump them out again. We rebrand it, make it cooler, and then have a senior audience or younger audience talk about it. And it has a brand new feel now. It's true. The thing that I'm aware of is the perception of outside looking in. Outside looking in, Nehal has it all figured out. Great B2B career, TikTok influencer, hitting the red carpet. There's a show on the way we haven't quite talked about, right?
Yeah.
I want to know, how do you balance all that? How are you handling so many different revenue streams, career opportunities, personal life, getting married, and I'll just say your own sanity? Like, how are you thinking through and managing all of that?
I think it takes a lot of planning. So with TikTok content especially, the reason that I feel like I have the freedom to create whatever I want is because my content is not polished completely. So I could be in a work meeting, a new TV show has come out. I can just pop on real quick, talk about the TV show if I watched it the night before, and that's it. 30-second video, 45-second video, it's done. And so a lot of the content just seamlessly fits into my workday and in the morning or after. I also do things like batching content. I'll use the weekend to create 10 videos and I'll change my hoodie every 5 seconds so it looks like it's a new day. And so that really helps me. And I think the other thing is taking a beat.
We got to dive into take a beat, because if there's one thing, now I know I don't take credit for any of your success, but there's one thing I know I have at least tried to teach you. What word am I going to use? Pace.
Oh, yeah.
Pace.
Definitely.
The thing with you is always, how do I slow her down? Because your pace is go, go, go in the best way. It's your superpower. But I think, to your point of like, there's a time to go fast and there's a time to go slow. So it sounds like, have you learned like, hey, I'm going too fast and I need to pace myself? Or
no, I'm still working on it.
Okay.
I think that I love moving quickly because I think shit is getting done. But I think at the end of the day, my burnout rate is really high.
Right now?
Yeah, and not in this moment, but I think if you say in the last 6 months, yeah.
What do you mean by take a beat?
I feel like I go in sprints. I work in sprints. So if I have a new project coming out or there's so many things that I could talk and post about and I'm seeing a return on it, like the likes are great, the views and the engagement, it's hyping me up. It's hyping me up. And then when it hits that, okay, you're lacking creativity. Your content is not hitting like it used to. I'm making it because I have to, because I haven't put anything out. I feel that change in pace, but it's not because I want to. It's because I have to. And so I still haven't completely managed how to stop it before that time comes. And you've helped me a lot trying to understand that POV or get to that point. Yeah. But it's still really hard because when you're in your high, you want to keep going.
And it's funny because it's not just the likes. The likes are just the scoreboard, like a very visualization of like my input is having an output. But and you tell me, I'm just talking for myself, is like, but then, you know, yesterday I woke up, a couple book sales, email for a client, and you're like that, like the opportunities, right? It's not just money, it's not just likes, it's like the overall momentum. I feel like it's addicting. The winning is addicting. And me and you have lived a few years in a culture of winning constantly and needing to feel that. So I'm curious, like, does that resonate? Like, is that what you're experiencing as well?
The winning feeling is so great that it's not worth stopping. And so you forget to stop and smell the roses because you're like, I'll just win again. I'll win again and again. But then it's like you hit a point where you're not winning because you're not creating. It's like you had to
gas a little bit. Yeah. I'm trying to I'm still learning about this for me too. And that's why I'm curious to talk to you about it, because there's like this point of like, the more I put in, the more I get. The more I put in, the more I get. But then, and it's subtle. The more I put in, I'm not getting the output.
Exactly.
And so then there's like a fork in the road where I go, do I stop? And then, you know, young, ambitious people are like, no, stopping is not even an option. So you keep going. And then it's almost, I think that's where the burnout comes from, because I'm still putting in, but I'm not getting it. And that adds to like, then like, I don't know if I jump to the word depression, but sadness.
Yeah, it's like, am I good at this? Is this what I want to do? Is this where I want to go in life? Like, I suck at it or something. And I'm just like, it's not worth to feel that low and not figure it out when you can control it if the highs are so high. So I struggle with that a lot.
What, like, have you found like signals where you start to pick up like, hey, it's happening and I should chill?
They come and go. I still haven't been able to completely put my finger on it, but yeah, I really don't know. Sometimes it's like a lack of creativity when my content, it feels forced. Like, okay, I haven't put a new TV show out in 5 days, or I haven't done this, but I don't feel like watching anything new. I'm watching a rerun of Friends or something. What do I do? And then I'm like, okay, it's feeling forced right now. It's feeling forced. That's when I know the content isn't going to perform that well, but I still put it out anyways. I wish that in those moments, I can just be like, it's fine to take a break for a week. But then my inner thoughts, my inner dialogue is like, don't take a break. Your followers, your count, your momentum will die. And then you're not going to get anything in life.
I've had the exact same thoughts, which is like, if I'm not constantly producing, my momentum will slow.
Exactly.
And then there's this fear of like, will I not be able to regain that momentum?
Exactly.
I think, and I don't know if I've ever actually worded this before. I don't know if I've actually spoken that. That might be, at least in my career life, one of my biggest fears. If I don't keep going, I will fall off. And not just the like, can I bounce back? Can I reinvent myself like, you know, Snoop or Post Malone? I always think of them because they've reinvented themselves. I'm like, I'll lose whatever that creativity is inside of me. It'll fizzle out and I won't be able to get it back. So I have to keep going.
That's exactly how I feel. I just think that I'm so passionate about things and I love the energy that I bring to the table that one day, if I just stop to take a break, it won't come back.
Yeah.
It won't come back.
You've paused. So you said you have taken a beat though.
Yeah.
What is the process of like, okay, there's this analogy that I like to use, which is I take the backpack off. Mm-hmm. So the backpack is like responsibility, expectations, right? Yeah. And it can get heavy. And you know, if I gave you a backpack to hold, you can carry it for a few hours, but eventually throughout the day, you're like, I'm tired. I want to take the backpack off. So I've gotten to the point of like, do I need to take the backpack off? This analogy. Have you ever, what is your process for putting the backpack back on? You know what I mean? It's like you've taken this beat and now getting back started.
So you actually told me something a couple years ago that stuck with me. And it was like, divide your tasks up into buckets. $5, $10, $1. Can you speak on that really quick? Because I think that has helped me a lot because that's what I look at when prioritizing. So
I got to give Chris Orlob a shout out. Okay. I don't even know if he invented it, but he'll be on the show and maybe I'll bring it up. We're recording with him soon, so I'll bring it up. But he taught me this thing where you have $1,000 tasks. I think it was $100, $5, and $1, whatever denomination. But as long as you've got $1,000 and $1 tasks, you have it figured out. And so what happens is when you're feeling overwhelmed typically, or just a lot to do, maybe you're not even in this mode of like fearful of momentum and all that, but you just got a lot to do, is to bucket the things based on impact. So you got your $1,000 tasks. Those are the high impact things that only you can do. And then you have your like $100 tasks, which are still important, but not as urgent. And then you have your like $1 tasks. And those are like the little tedious stuff that most AI companies swear they can do for you now. You know what I mean? Like the little stuff. And so the goal is like when you're feeling overwhelmed, one for me is to put all the tasks down to just see it all. Because I feel like when you feel overwhelmed, it's just like in your head, you know, and it's like a cloud and you're like, I just have anxiety. It's not feeling right. So I think the act of just writing it all down, all the things, that's like step one. And then it just feels good to see the problem. Then step two is dividing them into these tasks and going, okay, of these, let's just use the number 10, it's much more probably. 2 are $1,000 tasks and like 5 are $1 tasks. So do I really need to do those 5 at the bottom? Nah, I don't. So like, let's just like move that to the side, right? And then it's like, okay, I'm going to focus on these $1,000 tasks. The reason I think it's powerful is when you do those things that lead to more income, to more momentum, you feel confident.
Yeah.
And giving you confidence gives you more momentum. And so it's kind of like just how to like kickstart and like clear your mind a bit. So it sounds like that has worked.
That has worked really well. And I've also added a twist to it by adding things that'll add money to my bucket. So spending time with family, for example, will give me $1,000. Nice. And so let's call it productivity math at this point.
Well, but that's the point too, is like, and I use money a lot and I probably sound almost like, dang, Devin really cares about money. I do. I got 2 kids. I care about, and I like money. I have no problem saying that. But there's filling up your cup, not your bank account.
Exactly.
So. And so then it's like the things that I have to do of the $1,000 tasks, those are things I have to do like for business. What I'm learning right now, as you've experienced, you know, being in my inner circle, is like there's times where I do have to put the backpack off.
Yeah.
And I need to go hang out with my family. I need to go on like a little boys trip. I got to go to your fiance's bachelor party. But those are the things like you have to put the backpack down, put the responsibility, the creativity, like gravitational pull.
Yeah.
And just stop that and go fill your cup up. Because those inputs of new friends, those inputs of going to whatever you like to do, go play basketball, go to the club, whatever those things, that fills your cup so you can go do better work creatively, you know, for creativity. Yeah.
But that's what I'm saying that you brought up earlier is sometimes it feels so good to go to these bachelor parties, take time off and do that I feel like sometimes I will not want to work or go back into work because I'm like, this just feels so good. What if this could be my life? And so that's why taking breaks can be difficult or it can be hard because of the momentum thing. It's like, how do I get back? I just got a taste of the sweet life.
There's like a part, I think it's like day 4 of a vacation.
Yeah.
Where day 1, it takes me a good 24 hours to like stop checking Slack and email and be like, dude, we're on break. And then there's like a day or 2 of like good. And then there's like day 4 where I wake up and go, maybe this is my life now. Maybe I never go back. Yeah. And then reality sets in at some point that day or the next of like, oh yeah, I need to make money to afford this lifestyle. But what's helped me like noticing this and coming back is before I leave or before I take the backpack off is like, okay, backpack's coming on Monday. Yeah. 3-day weekend, whatever. On Monday, there's like one thing I have to do, $1,000 task. And so at least when I get back into, you know, open up the laptop, I have a vision. I have one singular goal, and doing it on that Monday, whatever day it is, then it's like, okay, some momentum is starting, right? Even if it's just one thing.
Yeah. And I think another tip that we've talked about is, you know, coming back the night before after a vacation or something and prepping yourself for success to avoid that big downfall of a Monday that's going to get crazy. So I always spend like extra few minutes before going to bed after I come back from something to just be like, okay, let's just check the email. Let's just open it. And a lot of them I can delete and that makes my day already better. Yeah. But if you can get that head start.
You take like a week off and you think on Monday morning you're going to like, I'll build my plan or I'll get back. I've wasted half days easily BSing around and being like, I'll do it later. And then like it's Monday night and you're like, shit, it's happening.
I'm worried about us after my wedding.
Same. I hope though, it's such a long break where I think there will be a time where I'm like itching actually to get back to it because I don't think of it as a grind. I think of it as like a hustle that I love to do. I'm hustling intentionally. I love what I'm doing. And yeah, there's always parts of it that you don't love, but I'm like very much hustling until that break. And then I know like when I get back what I have to do. I already have my pre-vacation plan. I have a vacation plan, my itinerary. Yeah. And then I have stuff I have to do within a certain amount of time. And so I know that will force me back into it.
Yeah. How do you juggle everything though? Like you have these hustle streams. You have
hustle streams. I like hustle streams over revenue streams.
Yeah.
I'm going to use that.
You have these hustle streams.
I like it.
How do you manage family, relationship?
Good
all
question.
of the above, because I feel like I'm in a place, and this is why you're my mentor and this is why I like talking to you about it, is because I'm still in a unique position where I'm not married yet. I don't have a family. I'm still able to put more time in those hustle streams without having to feel guilty for giving up time here and there. How do you manage guilt in different buckets?
Did you say guilt?
Yeah, like guilt.
I was like, we jumped right to the answer right there. Really. No, like, because I'm going to tell you the answer and then the thing that I don't know if it's running from or trying to avoid is guilt. Okay. So for me, and for any listeners who don't know, I've got 2 kiddos, 2 girls. One's 3, one's 1. I have a wife that I genuinely love and like to hang out with. And I have Clari, my full-time job, and I have the Reader with 6, 7 revenue streams, all different things. The answer that is obvious, and then there's a non-obvious answer that not too many people know about, but it's probably a hidden truth. The obvious one is the time blocking, the dedication, the commitment. Those are like entrepreneur bro videos that we've all seen where like, you got to wake up at 4, you got to do this. You don't got to wake up at 4, but you probably have to get up at 6. And you're not going to get 9 hours of sleep every day to do the things I'm doing at least. And I've accepted that. So I have intentional sacrifices. I have friends, call any of them. We don't hang out that much. Yeah. We text and we keep in touch. But the truth is, you can only have so many buckets in your life. And I actually got this from the Matthew McConaughey book, Green Lights, where he was running a production company and he was an actor and he had a family. He just had a tribe of kids. And he was like, I was getting B's across the board and I'm not a B player. He said, I'm kind of iterating my own version, but he's like, I'm not a B player. I wanted A's. So he cut 2 things off. And then he just went to like, I think it was acting, family, and I think it was like himself. And so I was at a point of like burnout, which I had burnout last year, like severe panic attack, and I had to stop. And I had to zoom out and go, I'm not making intentional sacrifices. I'm just cutting corners to try to be everywhere at once. And that's because I have too many buckets. So I had to have an honest conversation with myself, like, all right, which buckets are non-negotiable? Got to get an A. girls, my kids.
Yeah.
And I'll put like family is like, in that, maybe family is the bucket, but it's like my wife, my kids, and then I have like my brother and my niece and nephew and that sort of thing. And so it's like, all right, I've got that. Next one's career. Those kids don't eat unless I make some money. So it's like, you know, then there's like Clari, which I put 9 to 5 as its own bucket.
Yeah. Because
I have responsibilities there. And then I have like the reader. And now we're starting to get spread thin, right? The other buckets were like friends, personal time. You've been trying to get me to Orange Theory for months. I can't get out the door. I can't get there. I still work out. Yeah. But so what I had to do is just like, where am I okay making sacrifices? I'm okay not hanging out with that many friends right now. We'll hang out when I see you, but like I've got these other things I'm trying to build. And so those are like the way that I go about it. The thing that only you know is I have a cheat code, which is my in-laws live with me. Yeah. So I have my wife, I'm only sharing this for the folks who may not know, my wife's Gujarati, that's Indian. And in that culture, multi-generational households, right? Yeah. So when we were having our first, we said, look, we could go hire a nanny. It's this amount of money. Or what would it cost to have our my in-laws basically come live with us? And it's cheaper. And unfortunately, well, I'm glad how it worked out, but the unfortunate truth is it's more expensive to hire a full-time nanny than it was to retire them and pay for all of their bills.
Oh my God.
That's how expensive Bay Area full-time nannies are. And so that's the financial, you know, X's and O's. But then it was like how awesome for the grandparents and my kids to have Nani and Nana around all the time. Like I loved my grandpa. Like he was my best friend. Like how cool would that be? So I say that's the cheat code because I have in-laws who can watch my kids way more than most parents. Like if it was just like a wife, you know, a couple and their kids. So that has been the reason I can do what I'm doing. And I'm very grateful because they're aware of this. Like, you know, they came from India and Africa. Like they're straight up like career matters. Getting like some sort of sense of wealth matters. So it's this symbiotic relationship and this trade-off of like, look, mom, I don't want you to cater anymore. You're in your 60s. Like, quit being on your feet all day. And she's helping me like, hey, I know your career is super important. We want the family to like grow and prosper. So like, we'll help you with the kids. So that's the stuff not a lot of people know or talk about. But I wanted to share that because I think it's so easy to be like, oh, I wake up early, I go to bed late, I drink a lot of caffeine. That is true, but that's not enough to live a fulfilled life. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think the interesting part that you said was about the sacrifices, because I do think sacrifices change every year also. Oh, yeah. Depending on the things happening in your life. Yeah. And so sometimes it's hard to decide what those sacrifices are, especially in my case, because, you know, I'm going to get married, like I said. Yeah. And that's going to be like, okay, that's one more thing that I need to get an A in that bucket with my relationship. Yeah. So it's like, what do I have to sacrifice? And that's what I have to figure out.
And and for me, and it could be different for you and others, but it's like, the buckets exist to get A's. It's not how many buckets you can have. I don't want B's. Yeah. I don't want B's in anything. I want to, and like, that's why even if I don't sleep a lot, like my fulfillment is high because I'm doing the things that I want to do and I'm being intentional about the things I'm deciding not to do versus like, sometimes I do get like, damn, I wish I could go on some boys trips with like my guy friends who go do that stuff. But I don't get to have that and everything I just mentioned. I have to go, okay, which am I going to trade? And I go, none of it. I don't want to trade for that. So I'm good. I'll catch you on the next one.
I will say, though, this year, I feel like I've had the best mental health. And I know it's only January, but I mean in the last, I would say 4 or 5 months. And I think it's because I'm such a control freak sometimes and so type A that Nav even told me, my fiance, and my therapist gave me really good advice of like, when you're given a problem or a situation, think about what you can and cannot control. And a lot of times I focus on what I can't control and start spiraling over that. And so once I started practicing that mindset a little bit more and being like, okay, I can't control the output of the wedding. I've done my best and I've tried as much as I can. It's now in the hands of the vendors and what's going to happen. I haven't stressed about wedding planning at all. And I think that's not something usually I would say. And so I think that mixed with my gratitude journal that I do every day has just made me a happier person. And I hope to continue this forward.
I love that. It is early in the year, but I feel like the vibe everyone's saying like, they're happy 23 is behind us. Mental health is good.
I just don't care anymore. I know that sounds crazy, but I don't care about the wrong things anymore. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. Like I'm so easy breezy, and I don't think I've ever been easy breezy my entire life.
I wouldn't describe you or me as easy breezy, but I think you're right. It's you care. It's not that you don't care anymore. It's that you care less about the right, like you said, the right things that you don't care about.
Yeah.
Neither of us are immune to what I'm about to say because we've talked about it. I think of Lazy Dog, the restaurant by our home, where me and you have had some very honest conversations because I'm always, again, mindful of like, I've got all these hustle streams. I love that. I'm using that now. And the family and the whatevers. And I think, again, that outsider perspective is people can look at that and feel without. They can feel behind.
Yeah.
And I wanted to talk to you about the self-doubt spirals that we've experienced, right? So despite, I wouldn't say having it all because it's not a brag. It's not like, oh, look at me. Neither of us operate that way. But I'm curious, like, what's your relationship with self-doubt even right now in your career?
I still never feel like I'm good enough for this. And this was all just handed to me in some sort of coincidence. And I know there's the word imposter syndrome for that. But I genuinely sometimes don't feel like I belong in the room. And that's just how I feel. Even now, you've mentioned it a few times on the podcast about the radio show that I'm getting, which I can talk about.
I was like, I'll let you lead on that if you want to talk about it.
Yeah. So I got I quit my podcast last year. Yeah.
Sold it.
Yes. And so I gave up my share, sold my share and all of that. And then I decided to sign with the Ruckus Avenue Radio and iHeart Radio for my own show that's coming out in March.
Love that.
I just hate talking about it because it doesn't feel real still. And I just think it's going to get taken away from me. And maybe I don't deserve it. And I don't know. It's just this whole spiral of like, if I say good things are happening, are people going to start viewing me and jinx it? And then maybe I don't even deserve to have it in the first place. How did I just have a video blow up virally? Like it was by chance. I was just talking about it. Am I really an expert at this?
Yeah. It's funny because that's come up with other guests on the show.
Yeah.
If I talk about it, it won't happen. If I talk about it, it's like it becomes real and then I can lose it.
That's why earlier when you were talking about why don't you share your journey more, it's because of that. I don't want to share my journey and have it not happen, have it taken away or have it be jinxed. I'm just going to work in silence and then hopefully make it one day.
Which I think there is, like, I don't want to say truth to that, but there's validity in wanting to like, let me move in silence, let me lock stuff up and then talk about it. Because I don't know. I would say I don't believe in things being jinxed, but I also have kept track of things I've talked about before they were real. And I swear to God, they all went away. Like, you know what I mean? It's like I mentioned it a little early and then it falls through. Happenstance, who knows? But it's this funny, I mean, not really funny, but like ironic thing that we're striving for something for a long time. I want to have my own show. You get your own show, which by the way, I want to clarify a point that you slid through, slid past, which is you had been thinking about selling or getting out of this podcast for a while.
Yeah.
And we talked about it a lot. And then you decided to do it. And the next day, iHeart Radio calls you and goes, we want to give you a show. So I think that's super important too, because you bet on yourself and you followed like, if I want to get to that show level, right? If I want to hit this dream of mine, I have to let something go.
And it was also what you were saying earlier about the sacrificing thing. It was all of these other things. I was spreading myself thin. My heart just wasn't into it anymore. Why continue doing something when I can just cut it off?
Cut it off. I think I did this to you. I think sometimes when I know where you're going and I know what you need to hear, I just give you the scissors on screen and I'm like it's time. It's time. But it is interesting. So how are you coping with the self-doubt? Because I get it too. I get it, and tell me if this is actually relatable. So the more success, and it's not like, let me rephrase that. The better things that happen to me, the deeper the pit or spiral of self-doubt that will inevitably follow.
Oh yeah.
That happens to you too?
That happens to me.
You get the show, I get the something. I had it on this show. I have got the moments where I'm like, yo, I'm going to do it. This is like, I'm going to launch my own show.
Yeah.
This is the what if game. It's going to go great.
Yeah.
You know, you cut the check, you're a week out, production's all set up. And then you have this, I'm going to bed and I go, you're a fraud.
Yeah, exactly.
That ain't going to work out.
No one's going to listen to it. No one's going to watch it. No one's going to care.
That's the script of my inner mind sometimes. No one's going to watch it. And so I have a way I'm dealing with it, but I'm curious, like when you are in the spiral of self-doubt.
Yeah.
What do you do? How are you bouncing back from that?
I have to remind myself that I do deserve to be here. And I take a look at some of the past content I've done or past ideas I've had and really think about my journey. And I'm like, damn, I used to do nothing related to this field when I started out 5, 6, 7 years ago. And look at me now. And then I like to remind myself, like, there is good things coming, positivity, gratitude, all of that to get myself in a headspace.
I like that. That's one of the same things I do, which is look back. I look back to Sacramento, Devin, barely graduated, wasn't going to go to college, did end up graduating, you know, almost didn't get into tech. And so I have to remind myself of how far I've come and not the what if of like, what if this all fails? And
also reminding yourself, like, if this is it, could I be happy if this was like the peak of my life? Yes or no? And sometimes.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah. Sometimes I'm like, why did I have an accent all of a sudden? Whale. Whale.
Whale? Is the inner voice in your head Southern?
Yes, it is. No, but I have to think, if you lost it all right now, could you still be happy?
Lost it all as in everything I've built is gone, or if I stopped moving forward?
Stop moving forward.
Ooh. I think that I would have it. So probably not, because I stuttered. That's the truth. Probably not. Because when I think about why am I still pushing myself so much, I still have this thing of like, it's twofold. One is like more, I guess, sad, which is like, I feel like my worth, I don't have worth if I don't keep going. That's a part of like, that's my thing I'm working through. Like I have to keep going to have worth. And then the other more positive side is like, I'm competitive with myself. I want to know how far can I go. And one of the worst things to me is like lost potential or just, you know, giving up. And so I'm thinking, man, if I keep going, I can do more for my family. I would say more for myself, candidly, like I feel fulfilled, but then I have more opportunities to help my family, both my house and extended, and help other people. So I think there's that like competitive nature, like how far can I go? And then the other part is like some sort of insecurity, like I gotta keep going. Yeah.
So for me, it's like always at what cost? If I'm pushing myself so much and I'm burning out, I don't think all of it is worth it at the end of the day. And so there's a capping point for me that I have to reach to be like, okay, the decision I made is to be happier with these other things in my life.
Right.
So that's what I have to remind myself every day when I'm like thinking about this gratitude or in a spiral. Like, if this was all to go away, could I still be happy? And for me, I could be happy in the other things that are there. And so making sure those cups are mega filled so that I don't have to give this up.
Yeah. Well, I think it does make sense, because there's a difference of like, that's like the content. Am I happy with, like, when people, there's all the, and I like laugh at entrepreneur bros, like what success is. To me, success is having what you want and wanting what you have.
Exactly.
So if I like lost it all, let's say, I don't know, got fired, the reader imploded, whatever, as long as I have my family and the skills I've developed, I know I could bounce back and I could find another way to make a living. I'd be pissed because I worked really hard at all this stuff. But the idea of stopping is something that my wife laughs at me every year, because at the end of year, I'm like, this year, let's have a more chill year. Let's scale back in terms of all the things I want to do. And she's like, who are you lying to right now? Like, we know that's not who you are. So I think there's like a healthy pride in that and like pushing myself. And then to your point, as I had this year, I burned out. I had to go back to the buckets and go, okay, are these the right things that I'm focusing on and I'm fulfilled? No? Okay, then let's like recalibrate.
But I think my mindset changed with all of this, because with my Instagram and stuff, if you asked me 5 years ago, I've built my Instagram to around 14,000 followers, I would have been like, if I lost that, my life is over. Like, I'm unhappy. I've worked so hard. But then starting on TikTok and seeing how fast I was able to grow and build a brand makes me more confident that I could do it again and start it over. And so, like you said, I would hate to do it, but I could do it, and I could be more confident in doing it.
And that goes back to the kind of like, why are you doing it? If you do it to be famous, to be popular, then your self-worth is based on your follower count. And if your follower count goes away, then your self-worth is gone. Yeah. So to me, it's like, of course I'm proud that I have the following I have, because I've worked my ass off to grow that reputation and to build the audience. But if it was gone tomorrow, I'd be like, damn, that sucks. But I can rebuild it. Exactly. And that's not like, my kids don't give a shit how many followers I have. Yeah. So that's like what it comes down to. I want to switch gears a little bit and go to a LinkedIn post that you wrote that made my eyebrows dance.
Yeah. What do you call it? Brow raising.
The eyebrow test. The eyebrow raising, eyebrow dancing. It's the eyebrow test. So the eyebrow test is how I gauge if content is really good or engaging. So for those unoriented around or need to be oriented around the eyebrow test, if you're reading really good content, your eyebrows do one of two things. They pop. They just did it. Nehal, can we zoom in on Nehal? They pop. You go, oh, that's interesting. Or they furrow, they go down. You're like, wait, hold on a second. Let me think about it. If they dance, they do both. And that's what I did on this post. So I'm actually going to have you read it and folks can check it out.
Okay.
You just read it nice and casual, however you want. We'll cut it in.
The best content marketers are pop cultured. And if you're not, here's how to fake it and stay relevant, all while creating viral-worthy posts. First, see what's being talked about in entertainment by visiting RottenTomatoes.com. You'll get a list of the most popular TV shows and movies right now. Looks like people are highly invested in Barbie, Oppenheimer, Only Murders in the Building, and The Bear. Number 2, visit Giphy.com and find a GIF that's related to one of these shows or movies. Number 3, make it relevant to your personal brand. At my last company, I used an Ozark GIF to describe what it's like to deal with pricing negotiations. It got over 1,000 likes. And I hadn't even watched the show. Don't worry, it's on my list. Start adding pop culture references to your content to stay hyper relevant. P.S. Watch The Bear. It's actually fire.
I love this post.
And there's a GIF of the bear.
There's a GIF of the bear, and he says, "Thank you, that's helpful." Which is this nice like meta piece, which is like at the end of reading that, the GIF says what you're thinking as the reader, which is thanks, that's helpful.
Yeah.
Like I like that a lot. Do you remember what I commented?
No.
I said, and this was a genuine reaction was, so that's how you do it.
Yeah.
Because you've been hyper relevant. And I would say it's your superpower. I think your superpower is being hyper relevant.
I think so too. Even when it comes to my content across all platforms, it's about posting real time. It's about posting what's relevant right now and seeing the reactions based off of that.
And I'm focusing on that for this show. I'm not doing tons of teaching or hard lessons, you know what I mean? Yeah. And so it was inspiring to me. And I love the post because one, it was incredibly insightful. Like, oh, you can kind of fake it till you make it in a good way, which is we all want to be relevant. We all want to know what's going on in the world.
Exactly.
And you've always had that ability to take the marketing lesson, the sales lesson, and making it like wrapping it in just like hyper relativity, which I always really liked. What other advice do you have for people who are like, I want to be more relevant. I want to be like Nehal. I want to share my experiences. What other advice do you have for being like more relatable with your content?
I think it's thinking what you do in your day-to-day and thinking what other people do in their day-to-day.
Yeah.
Everybody almost watches TV. Everybody reads a book, hopefully. Everybody eats good food, feeds themselves, whether they like eating out, whether they like cooking. So those are just things that people will resonate to automatically. And I tried my best not to say this phrase on the show, which is because of ChatGPT. Oh.
I think the lessons is easier now. You can it's a research assistant.
Yeah.
You can go in there and say, give me 20 B2B marketing lessons, and you can go post those and people maybe think you're an expert. The relatability is the storytelling, but also you wrote in that post, which is what I love. You're giving the tips. First of all, you had a framework. Then you had tips. And then in the examples was you doing what you said you were teaching.
Exactly.
And so I think that's that relatability of like, oh, she's done this. She's doing it and she's done it. And therefore it's more relatable and also just more entertaining. Like I just like, and you feel like Nehal, where she's like, hey, I don't have it all figured out. Sometimes I use this little Rotten Tomatoes thing to seem more relevant. And then I watch the show later.
Exactly.
And when that's kind of all of us, we're all like, yeah, I've read that book. In the back of your head, you're like, I listened to it on audio.
Yeah.
Or I read half, but you know what I mean? It's like
all the TV shows you mentioned to me or the movies, the old movies, and I have no idea what you're talking about. So I just say
it's The Godfather. But yes, now you're just like, yeah, I've seen it. And I'm like, no, you haven't. It's okay. It was like in the 80s. So I appreciate that you've shared both the vulnerability and the advice for growing an audience, monetizing, being intentional. We're going to go a level deeper with the rapid fire questions.
Ooh, okay.
Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Do you need to take a sip of your coffee? Or
No, I think I'm good.
She's geared up. All right.
Geared up.
Now, I was curious what you wore today. You know which question's coming first. What is your all-time favorite pair of shoes? Actually, hold on, I got to re-ask. What is your all-time favorite pair of sneakers?
I have Dior sneakers that Nav got for me. I've worn them twice in the last 3 years, but they are my favorite.
I do the same thing where I don't wear some of my favorites because I don't want to scuff them up. What is your most reliable source of inspiration for new ideas?
Rotten Tomatoes.
Hey, she takes her own advice. I like that. Okay, you can only pick one. Meeting Drake backstage after a show for 10 minutes or $10,000 cash.
Drake gave me a watch, so I'll take the $10,000.
That's on part 2 of how you've met Drake. What's the most overrated Indian dish?
Chole bhatura.
I admittedly don't know which one that is. Which one's that?
Okay, it's like you have like the big bread that's like fried and stuff, and then I don't know how to
It's like flatbread kind of, right? But like the Indian style?
Kind of.
All right. Well, it must be overrated because I've never eaten it and I've had my fair share. What's your go-to cereal?
I don't really eat cereal.
Really? I thought you were a cereal girl.
Not a cereal girl.
Okay, I've got more. All right, we're gonna.
Are you gonna just pick and choose which ones are good?
Yeah, of course. None of these are hitting, so I have to.
Yeah.
All right, you've traveled the globe. What's the most underrated city you've visited?
Marrakesh, Morocco.
If you had just said Marrakesh, I would have had to ask which country because that's my geography.
It's okay. Everybody in my family, especially my sister, sucks at geography. I asked her what continent Egypt was. She had no idea. I'm going to let you answer.
Gotta be Africa.
Yeah.
Okay. It's close to Europe by some water, though. I've watched some. What was the most rewarding moment of your career?
Getting my first brand deal.
Ooh, which one was it?
It was with Mr. Coffee, and it was my first 5-figure brand deal.
Hey, we like that. Let's see what else. All right. You are the hoodie queen. I even wore my best hoodie for you today. I want you to describe what makes the best hoodie in the world using 3 words.
Bagginess. Thickness. Fit.
I feel like that's yeah. No color?
No, not a color.
Any color.
My favorite hoodie is the Essentials one right now.
I almost wore that one for you because you gifted it to me, but it has a couple stains. I'd love to blame the kids, but it was me eating Chipotle.
How often do you wash your hoodies, by the way?
Wow, that's a personal question.
Is there a rule?
It totally depends. So I have gotten into some arguments with my wife about she washes like all her clothes every time she wears them.
Yeah,
and I'm like,
no.
Like, no, I'm like, the hoodies, first of all, I don't get them that dirty. I try to wear them usually like 5-ish times.
Okay, that's what I was going to say.
With an undershirt, so it's good.
Yeah, I do 5.
Unless something spills on it on the shoulder, then I gotta,
Yeah, I do 5 times, and then I'll wash it and then hang dry it because I'm not throwing that in the dryer.
10 minutes in the dryer to get a lot of the it out, and then I throw it in. Then I hang dry it. What word makes you cringe?
Moist.
That's a fan favorite as in a not favorite. Hold on, I got a couple more. I want to scroll down. Who's the coolest person you've ever met in real life?
My sister Rich.
Really?
Yeah, she's so fucking cool.
You met Drake?
Yeah, but my sister is top tier.
I'd ask you who the greatest rapper of all time is, but I know you would say
Drake.
What's a weird skill or random thing you're really good at?
Okay, so there's this game at Dave & Buster's, and there's an arrow that goes up constantly, and you have to hit it to get jackpot. I get jackpot every time.
Really?
Yeah.
You're just cashing out on tickets?
I just cash out on that game when I go to Dave & Buster's.
All right, last
one. And air hockey.
Dude, I could see you being a beast at air hockey. You probably get super into it, leaning on the table, breaking your nails and knuckles. Yeah, I've hit too many knuckles where I'm like, I'm good on this game. All right, last one. What's the best Bollywood movie of all time?
Om Shanti Om.
Om Shanti Om. I've actually seen that one.
Yeah.
It's pretty good. If you can read subtitles for 3.5 hours, it's worth it. It's worth it. All right. Well, hey, that comes to a wrap. We're going to wrap here, but I want to say thank you for stopping by. I adore you. I'm grateful that you shared game, and thanks for stopping by the show.
Thank you. And I'm so proud of you and all of this here. I'm excited to be on this podcast, excited to see how this is going to blow up, because it definitely will. And thank you for thinking of me.
Appreciate you. Putting it into universe. We're hoping for the biggest marketing show, so we'll see.
Exactly. And all the brand deals we sponsor during this.
Hey, we hope so. We should make some money off this thing. But all right then. After each recording session, I reflect and decide how I'm going to put my guests' advice into action. And my chat with Nehal really inspired me. I respect her dedication to her craft, and I love that she continues to bet on herself and win big. Here are my 3 favorite takeaways that I'm confident will help you too. First, invest in the long game. Remember that posting content online is more than likes and followers. It provides life-changing opportunities like new ways to make money and access to events, people, and unforgettable experiences. Number 2, if you're feeling overwhelmed, rank the tasks on your to-do list by valuing them either $1, $100, or $1,000. This will help you reduce anxiety and increase focus by tackling the highest return tasks first. And third, creating highly relevant content is critical now more than ever. Get vulnerable and share specific experiences and your feelings. That's how you resonate with people and grow a dedicated online audience. All right, if you're still listening, you must really crave growth. and I respect that. And you don't have to wait until next week's episode for more marketing advice. There are 3 ways I can help you scale your content right now. Every Saturday morning, I publish a newsletter where you'll get content tips and strategies for growing your career, brand, and business. Subscribe now to join thousands of readers. Just tap the link in the show notes. My ebook, Content That Converts, shows you how to confidently grow your reach and audience. This expansive digital playbook, packed with tips, techniques, and examples, reveals the exact strategies and step-by-step processes for converting attention into audience growth and sales. To buy your copy, hit the link in the show notes. You're seeing a pattern. And if you'd like to sponsor this show or partner with The Reader, email me at yo@thereader.co. Yes, that's yo@thereader.co. That's a wrap for now. And if you like the show, go ahead and give us that 5-star rating on Apple. It helps us grow.